Hey everybody, welcome back to Dental Unfiltered. I'm Matt Brown, and I'm here with Paul Lowry from Dental Menu. We believe a lot in dental membership programs over at Energize, my full-time company, and we believe in them a lot here at Dental Unfiltered. I think it's something every practice needs. Paul Lowry is a newer product to the space. It's Dental Menu, and I met Paul at Dental Intel last year, and there was a bunch of really good solutions that his software had that some of the others didn't have that really impressed me. And I thought it was worth having him on the show because his product, I think, is probably the most unique out of all the dental menus, or all the dental membership programs. I think it's the most unique one. I think it solves a lot of problems. I think he put a lot of creative solutions in that are going to create a better quality of workday for the individuals operating the membership program on the practice level, because some frustrations with them overall. So, Paul, first tell us about how Dental Menu came about.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually doing direct mail for a lot of years for offices years ago, and just listening to the phone calls. You're in the marketing space, but new patient phone calls coming in. They had insurance. What were they asking? If they didn't have insurance, what they were asking, and then we really tracked the retention, which I know your company does a lot of that as well. But the retention was just it was terrible for uninsured patients. They essentially were a revolving door for these practices we were working with. So we initially set out to improve the marketing, and the more we dug into the membership side, offices running it themselves or using some of the other softwares out there that just weren't getting the results that we thought could be had.
It's there's like been this transition the last, like, let's call it 6 years, where like dental membership programs are becoming more of a norm. Like, I feel like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I was in 5 years ago, but it seemed like it was just coming around then. And I feel like 6 or 7 years ago, it was a minority concept, like dental membership program. And it's a very critically important thing for the people without insurance. So let's get into there's a lot of challenges with implementing a dental membership program. A few I have seen is a lot of people tried to self-administer and then have this Excel spreadsheet for charging people. And some poor office person once a month sits down and runs credit cards manually. And when I say it hurts my brain, when I see that in a practice, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Right. But I know there's a lot other challenges. That's just the obvious one. And my advice, I talk to a lot of practices every day, and I ask them the question all the time, because at my company, you're required to have this. And I ask the question all the time, do you have a membership program when they're first meeting with us? And they're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, do you self administer it, or do you have a third party handling it? And when they say self administer, I try to talk them out of it really hard. I'm like, that is a very bad idea. Do not do this on your own anymore. So aside from that obvious challenge, which is the giant like one that's like, do not do this on your own. Tell me about the challenges you guys have solved and what you recognized.
Sure. So, I mean, I always like to start a little bit, Matt, because when you have self administered plans, there's really two ways to structure these quote unquote plans. One is more of a discount style plan. I like to think of it as a Groupon or something like that. So, if you and I were like, hey, Matt, you know what? I really want to go skydiving or we want to go do an activity, we might try to find the best deal possible to go do a one time activity, which is different than buying like a season pass or a membership style plan. So most people that run it themselves, if you think about how they're set up, they're really a transactional one-off relationship. Two cleanings, two exams, set of x-rays for $400. And they're set up very simple because on the back end, which we'll talk about in a minute, you have to administer it. You got to figure out how to make it work. So when you've got Susie at the front running your membership plan, you don't have any kind of administration, helping you, then you're going to set it up very, very simple. And they're really sold just straight on getting that discount on treatment. So it's a very transactional one off thing. You come in, it's like, hey, Matt, you got a treatment plan, it's $4,000. You can pay us $400 to save 20%. Well, it doesn't take a genius to think like, well, hey, if I save $800, I'll spend 400. I'm done. But what we found with those plans is people buy them for a year, but then they go off them for 3, 6, 8, 12 months.
There's no auto renewal process when you administer yourself.
It's a Groupon. It's buying a discounted program. If you look at membership plans, think of membership plans. We're seeing those car washes pop up everywhere. Why Why is it $25 for one wash or $30 for unlimited? Because those guys know they want to get you on a subscription, right? Netflix is the same thing. They don't call and say, "Hey, Matt, do you want to renew Netflix for a year? We'll finance it monthly." And you're like, "Crap, I haven't even turned the TV on for 4 months. I've been so busy. I'm not renewing." But that's what dentists are doing, is they're making the consumer make a buying decision every year whether they want a discount plan, instead of selling a continuity program, which is access to care. If you look at dental insurance, which everyone bitches and moans all the time about dental insurance. So if you take off your emotional hat and you just say, let's see what dental insurance is doing, and let's maybe copy some of those elements, because obviously they know how to make money. they they sell access to care.
Culturally, some of the stuff you've done with the dental menu, culturally in the practice, if they have PPOs, kind of just falls into place with their behaviors.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So at any rate, that's ultimately what we see, is the plans are self-administered. They're crappy plans, and that's why the name of our company is Dental Menu. If you show up at a restaurant, there's not even a menu of services for you to order. Well, you're not going to be very successful. If the patients don't even know what you offer and how they can consume it, it's not going to work very well.
And I know there's a lot of challenges with the way it's sold, and we do a lot of our training is kind of based around both options because a lot of practices still do the Groupon way of like pay $400, get 20% off. And then the problem we have with that too is these people buy it for a year, you retain them for a year, and then they fall off of it. And they're because practices are notoriously bad for follow up. Now we're saying let's follow up on renewals a year later. And then the idea that docs and the practice have is, well, when they come in for their cleaning, we'll notice that they're up for renewal and do it. They never do. They check them in, check them out. It's just culturally not a thing, right?
Or if they do, Matt, I mean, what we see is, so they buy it for a year for $400. They get their second cleaning that's quote unquote free. And then the patient, they don't want to pay $400 day 366. And so they wait 6, 8, 12, 14 months. So they eventually buy it when they come back in. But you got to realize you're selling now 18, 24 months worth of your membership plan. You got $400 for it. That's it. I mean, you didn't, there's this whole period of time where they're quote unquote a patient of record, but they're not coming in and you're not getting any membership revenue. You're missing out on a lot of revenue.
Yeah, so my uncle has a membership program that does monthly payments. And of course, it's my uncle's practice. They sell membership programs aggressively. Also, he's 100% fee for service. So he does takes out of network benefits, but he's got like a multi $1,000 revenue stream a month of membership money. And I think you're right. Like if a practice did this properly for 2 or 3 years, they would wake up with $15,000 a month in recurring revenue. And it's, for my opinion, it's just like a gym membership. A lot of people don't utilize it.
Yeah. So and that's where like one minor tweak. If you're running your plan, you're listening to this. If you sell 2 cleanings per year, whether you're doing monthly or annual, if all you change is you do access to a cleaning every 6 months, which doesn't sound like any different, right? But instead of 2 per year that they're trying to get fitting into that 12-month period, if you sell access to care, access to a cleaning every 6 months, you hit it on the head. People don't come in at 180 days right on the dot because I'm busy, practice is busy. And so we found that on average, it takes about 14 months to get 2 cleanings, 2 exams. And so you get 2 extra months of payments by selling access to care. Just, hey, you come in, it's your gym membership. You come in, you're active. We'll see you. I don't care if it's been 6 months, 6.5 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. You come in, you have access. But when I see you, I just pre-appoint you out 6 more months. I don't try to cram a second cleaning in before your year's up. I just talked to one yesterday in office and they said, well, yeah, they get 2 cleanings, but a lot of times they come in at month 13 and they haven't got their second cleaning, but they want it. And so we just give it to them. And which I get, because you can't tick a patient off, but that's what the patient's going to say is, well, no, 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 Matt, I didn't get my second cleaning yet. It's like, well, you're not active. Well, now you've got a situation where you either make the patient upset because he doesn't get his second cleaning he bought, his voucher is expired, so to speak, or you just you eat it, right? And you do that month 13, month 14, and you delay the renewal that much more. So sell access to care at intervals. Don't sell bundle of services, would be my suggestion.
One challenge that everybody deals with is the accounting of it. It's like you have this dental membership program and they're getting 2 cleanings a year. And if you're paying your hygienist somehow based on quick cleanings or bonuses based on that, and then you're writing off stuff and you're paying some people bonuses on production, it is production. All of a sudden, the accounting of it gets really funky because you basically end up having these write offs. It's kind of the only way anyone handles it is like, let's write this off, let's write that off. Well, it's part of the membership program. And it ends up jacking up your accounting because you actually got paid for it, right? And at least the membership program money should somehow be allocated. Now, you guys had a really unique solution for that. And I would say for managers that run a practice, sorting that out is something I think they just don't like. They look at it like this is a mess and it snowballs. And they're like, I'm just going to keep it going the way it's going and not touch it. Like, whatever.
Well, it's because you don't have any other option, really.
Tell me how you solved this accounting problem because you did it in a really unique way.
Yeah, and if you look at just it drives me nuts, Matt, because in business, just business in general, nobody would account for revenue in any other business the way that dental practices are doing their membership program. And what, everybody that's listening, I mean, they typically, yeah, they come in for an exam, cleaning, x-rays, those services are quote unquote free. So they write those off. But if you were to get an audit, it's a bad way. You've got to have a paper trail. So your daily bank statement should match collections, production, your practice management software, just generally speaking from a business standpoint, because anytime you don't have that, you're opening yourself up or your office managers are opening themselves up for fraud. We've had clients that we brought on not using our software that we've discovered that their front office managers put 6, 7 of their friends and family member on the membership plan, and you just write it off. Like, who's going to catch that? And so the way we handle is we set up a separate account for the practice. They own the revenue, but that revenue is unearned revenue. It's prepayment almost, if you will, from this patient. So we keep it in a separate account. It's still, again, the doctor's account. If they stop using us, they still have that cash, but that revenue is just sitting, those payments are sitting in a different account. And then we've got integrations with the practice management softwares. But when you walk that patient out of Dentrix or Open Dental or whatever you're using, and you indicate, hey, they got an exam, cleaning, x-rays, that actually pings this account and it transfers revenue from your membership account. It'll just do an EFT transfer to your operating bank account. It'll generate an explanation of payment report, similar to like what you get from insurance. It says, hey, Matt, you just got $258 for Paul's exam, cleaning, x-rays, and it tells your team member exactly how to enter the deposit. So from a standard operating procedure, we're running it kind of like an in-house, like an insurance plan where payment goes elsewhere. You see the patient, it triggers a payout. You enter that in to offset the production. So you have a daily bank statement EFT deposit that matches your daily collections, which matches your daily production. There's an all completely closed loop system. And then any of the excess, the breakage that we're talking about, because people come in late, that's going to stay in that account. And we run kind of a report for our offices, but the owner is going to pull a dividend out of that account, just like insurance kind of gets, because there's breakage, there's extra that's in that account over the year because people don't come in on time. But as far as your ledger is concerned, your collections production matches real time. So any of your KPIs, if you're using dental intelligence, they freaking love it because your KPIs work. You're not doing anything different. You're just saying, what did we produce? What did we collect? And it all matches up.
Yeah, that's a giant pain point in the practice because it creates an accounting nightmare. And it's like office managers like bellyache about it really, really bad.
Yeah. And you don't want to train your office manager to adjust things off.
No.
That's a bad way to train. The other thing that we've seen is when you do a practice valuation, if you're doing an associate buy-in or you're selling your practice, what does it look like if you have 300 membership patients, you write off 600 cleanings a year? It looks like you have a receivable problem, and you'll get dinged on that when you go to sell. Just for unless they dig in deep enough and you bring it up to their attention, just high level. Somebody's coming in, they're doing evaluation, they're going to look at what you produced is here, what you collected is lower. They don't give a crap what you produce. They want to see what you collected. That's what they're going to value your practice off of.
They're going to value you based off EBITDA, and the membership program can eat directly off EBITDA because you're not associating a cost to it. You're writing it down, and it's literally a hit to EBITDA. So the way you're doing it also protects the EBITDA and protects the evaluation, which is really interesting. So I know the other challenge is in most practices, the way this is done is, hey, this is your treatment plan. Okay. We have a membership program that costs $249. Okay. Do you want it? And they go, nah, I'll just pay the amount. Because the patient here is, let's say it's $4,000 plus 249 is 4,249. But the problem is, like, we're saying it that way, and they're not seeing the translation, right? So like if you're doing a self-administered program, which we know isn't the best idea, and you presented it, let's say it's a 20% discount, and it comes down to like 34.99 or 38.99 because of the discount, and you're showing it visually, the patient would never not accept the membership program. They would never pay more to avoid it, right? So I know you guys do the payment part uniquely. Tell me a little bit about your sign up process and kind of how you guys feel about the sales part of the process.
Yeah. So a couple things we do to help so they don't just buy it for that year because of the discount. Get them to sign up. They buy it because of the discount, like you're talking about. That's great. But how do we keep it going, after that initial 12-month period? So we're big on letting patients pay how they want to. In our software, people can pay monthly, they can pay annually, they can also pay semi-annual, which is every 6 months. Everything auto renews, and we're big believers in letting patients pay how they want. You can turn any of those features on or off in the software, but if you offer monthly options, the majority of patients are going to choose that because that's just what fits their budget and that's what we're used to doing. That being said, older patients don't like the monthlies, they want to pay annual. But one of the things that we recommend doing is offering a monthly option, which again is a pain in the butt on the accounting side. If you're self administering, the monthly payments.
That's how you end up having some poor girl running credit cards once a month off an Excel spreadsheet, and she's sitting there banging her head against the wall, and you have declines and stuff. And honestly, the program could go backwards, and you could end up being negative doing it that way.
And the accounting is a lot worse because she's messing. If you had 100 patients, she's dealing with 100 payments a month instead of 100 payments a year. So she also doesn't like just the fact that she's got all these little micro deposits coming in every month, which is a nice thing about that separate account. But at any rate, if you're doing the monthly option, one of the things that we recommend is doing an enrollment fee at the front so that you get enough to kind of cover that first set of services so that you're not in arrears. I always tell my offices, I don't want you financing your exam cleaning x-rays. That's not what this is. This is not a payment plan for your exam cleaning x-rays. Get that out of your head. It's access to services. Like when you do a gym membership, it's not a payment plan for a certain number of times you get to go to the gym. It's not a financing plan. It's an access to the gym. So get whatever you need at the front and then just realize that they're paying for access to care down the road so that you don't have to get emotional if they cancel. So people that hate monthly payments, I always say, well, no, it's not monthly payments, man. It's access to care. What do you need for your exam cleaning x-rays up front and then run it after? The other thing we do that's really unique, I don't know if you remember, but we do a rewards program that works really well to keep people on the plan. And basically, when the patients get a cleaning on the plan, they earn $25 or $50 towards treatment that may be needed in the future as long as their plan stays active. So when they come in and they get their cleaning, they get all their services, they earn $50 towards treatment, and then they're like, hey, you know what? I don't want to renew. I'll renew when I come back in 6 months. It's like, well, you're going to have to pay the enrollment fee again, and you're going to lose this $50 of rewards we just gave you on your account. Are you sure you really want to lose both those benefits? And it's like, it doesn't really, like you're saying, it pans out better for me to stay on it than to get off it.
What's really interesting to me is, and I have another thing I want to explain to the audience, so it's a little more easier. Is, you know, like it tends to, even when they self administer, it tends to be pretty sticky, right? But like with the monthly, recurring, and then the auto renew and the no follow up needed, I bet yours has a much longer, stickier life because of that. Because it's two giant failure points. The first failure point that's very obvious is not auto renewing. And it's just not going to happen. You're going to work all year to put 150 fee for service, highest value patients on the program. A year's going to go by and you're going to lose 70 of them. And then you're going to start the process all over again and get up to 170 or 180. Then next year you're going to lose 60. It's going to keep going like that, right?
And that's a good indicator, Matt. If you're stagnant in your number of members, that's an indicator that's going on. Like year over year, your numbers are always 100.
Yeah, and the other thing it's also an indicator of that we've seen on our side is maybe year one you had an awesome membership salesperson, and then year two and three you didn't, right? So there's we look at that also. We look at it to gauge kind of how good people are at selling fee for service patients because a lot of PPO practices have the culture of $1,000 in benefit this year, $1,000 in benefit next year, $1,000 in benefit next year. And they don't have the ability to ask for all the treatment, right? Which is really not good for the patient because we're not getting ahead of the dental problem. We're kicking it down the road, right? And the thought on the practice side is like, well, we're doing good by the patient because they're not having to pay out of pocket. Well, our job is to do its best all the time, or practice's jobs is to do its best all the time clinically for the patient. And insurance dictates care in a way that isn't clinically beneficial to the patient, right? And with the dental membership program, you know, that yearly benefit isn't there to create that culture. And then the patients you have are fee for service, which by fee schedule are the highest value patients. They're also the most likely to finance. And finance patients always get a lot of work done. They keep their schedule. So I think it's very important to create a good retention mechanism in the form of a membership program to protect those high value patients and retain them and keep them. Because, in my opinion, the defining characteristic between a membership program and insurance is the membership program can only be used in your practice. Insurance can be used a lot of places, right?
That makes them sticky to you, not just dentistry.
Yeah, it's sticky to you, right? So real quick for the audience, when Paul talked earlier about the accounting system, basically in very simple terms, he creates another bank account. He charges the monthly membership fees. They get dumped in that account, and then as people seek services, that money is debited out to your practice, and a proper accounting of what services were used is associated to a payment, and it doesn't hurt your bottom line. Now, at the end of the year, let's say you have $5,000 left in that account that was unutilized, that will go directly to your bottom line. So that will increase profit. So it's a really good source. And honestly, along the way, indirectly, you're picking up a lot of profit by your best fee schedule patients just hitting the practice more and more and more. It creates two new profit centers, which are really interesting. And I think that it is a big failure point in practices. Like everyone, it seems like everyone has one, but like out of 10 practices, 8 aren't good at it. Is kind of the way I see it on my side.
Well, if you want to make your salesperson not want to sell it, that accounting thing is a big issue. A lot of office managers they don't want 200 on it because it's a problem to deal with all the issues on the back end. So they only sell it if they have to, but they're creating more work every time they add more members, so they don't want to do it.
What's coming up or what's next or what exciting things are happening at Dental Menu going forward?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we're actually doing right now, Matt, that's real interesting is we have a service where we're calling, like we get dental menu in and then we're looking at patients that are coming up in the future that don't have that have appointments that don't have insurance. Right now we're manually calling those patients, just saying, hey, you're coming in next week, we wanted to let you know we're doing this dental menu to basically explain and sell a membership plan so your front desk can cut down on that amount of time. So we're calling saying, hey, just so you know, you're coming in for an appointment, we wanted to let you know about this membership plan, answer your questions, here's the landing page. And we don't sign them up on that call, but we do 80% of the sales job. So when they come in, the front desk doesn't have to spend as much time presenting it. And we're kind of building on the back end an automated, AI tool that we can plug in down the road that will do this automatically is the goal. But right now we're doing it manually to kind of help with that sales process, take that out of the front desk hands.
So you're prepping them for the idea of the membership program, and then they'll be more prompted when they come in to ask for it, which then will prompt the sale because it won't let it fall through the cracks.
Yeah, because most of the time, like office managers are busy, they're doing a lot of stuff. They're usually pretty good at being reactive. So if you come in and you don't say anything as the patient and they're real busy, there's a lot going on, you come in, you're a patient, you leave. But if the patient is at the front and is like, hey, Susie, tell me about this membership plan. I got a call about it and they're telling me this and this and this. I think I want to sign up. At that point, there's a lot higher probability that that sell happens at the front because it's like, oh, I'm going to take care of the patient. Matt's asking me about the membership plan. I'm going to tell him the rest of the way and get him signed up.
Yeah, I think that's the other failure point, really, is like just even having the conversation about it is hard for practices. Like a lot of times, their opinion of having the conversation is, here's a brochure, let us know. And office managers get really upset when I say this. So a lot of times I'll go to a practice and do a consultation audit from the consultations I gave them, right? Because at my job, we produce 80% fee for service patients, which is why we require some tool like this in the practices, right? And a lot of times I'll be like, well, how do you guys sell? Like, oh, we handle the brochure. And I'm like, oh, you handle the brochure. Oh, that's selling. That just gets thrown on the floorboards of their car when they leave. So a lot of times where managers get upset with me is, let's say that 100 fee for service patients that came from us, and I'll go through and see how much treatment they got, and I'll say, this person got $4,000 or $1,000 in treatment. Do we sum the membership program? And they're like, oh no. I'm like, why do you overcharge your patients? Do you overcharge them? Like, I don't overcharge anybody. I'm like, yeah, you do. Because let's say, for math's sake, the treatment's $1,000. Let's say the discount is 20%. Well, let's say the cost of the program is 200, just for round numbers, right? Well, at $1,000, the price is the same with or without it. And every dollar over $1,000, you are 100% overcharging your most valuable patient because there's a price break where basically they get it for free. And if you go over that, you now are overcharging your patients. And when I explain this concept to office managers and docs, like their mind is blown. Like, I never thought about it that way. I'm overcharging people. Like, you are. And you're not being fair to both patients. Why are we giving it to some people and not others? And they're like, I never realized this. And I'm like, you know why? Because you didn't put enough effort into your membership program and understanding it. You just made a brochure, throw some discounts on there and say, I got a membership program, I'm done. But you didn't really think about the processes and procedures. So how often do you encounter that where like they just don't give it to everybody?
Oh yeah, it's very common, and it comes down to the front office, which is why we're trying to do some of these other services. So we keep track of, hey, what patients came in that didn't have insurance and how many were converted, and it ranges all across the board of, well, this practice saw, 100 uninsured patients in the last quarter, and they signed up 70 of them. This practice saw 100 and they sent up two, and really it comes down to how good that office team is, that front office team. I mean, it really does. That's the other fail point, like you're talking about, is how good are they doing at the front presenting it. And so the more tools you can have, the more education you can have, the more priming the pump before a patient comes in, the more time you can make sure is carved out for the treatment coordinator to have time to actually present it. Potentially doing even some incentive based stuff has worked where they get something for signing up. They don't want to be called salespeople for sure.
Yeah, the word sales and dental is like not okay.
Yeah, but so outside of dentistry, salespeople get commissions. They get an upside for closing deals, and so we found that works as well. Some sort of an incentive program as they present it, and they get those. And a lot of our offices use that enrollment fee I was talking about as the kind of the incentive. Like as soon as they present that membership plan, it closes, the team member gets 25 or $50. So that's anything you can do to help streamline that process. The other service that we have, Matt, is we actually will call all of the patients that are past due for recare that don't have dental insurance. We'll remote into the practice management software. We'll schedule the appointment. We'll call the we'll call them for recare. Hey, you haven't been in for a while. We got this great membership plan. We can actually get you back in for as low as $28 a month. Let's get you scheduled. And most office managers have that as a task that they're supposed to call. Of it, they're not SDRs. They're not sales development reps. They don't want to call 600 patients. They don't even have time really either, but it's hard for them to pound a list. So those are a couple of the new things that we've been doing to help offices get more members and kind of take that off of the front office's plate instead of adding more to their plate.
So to wrap this up and talk about where dental menu is very different. So I want to take it from the human impact to the technology impact. So we know there's a problem in practices of renewing patients, approaching patients, and kind of finding the patients in the system that are eligible for this where it would really benefit them, right? Like the front desk staff and the office manager really don't have time for those three things. So you guys go through and find people that are on hygiene recall who are fee for service and prep them for the membership program, help get them back in. But then also you go through and find people that are time for renewal or find people that are fee for service that don't have this in general that are coming in, and you plant the idea in their head and the benefit of it so they're prompted to ask about it in the practice, which then in turn indirectly kind of helps the sales problem, actually kind of solves it, right? So you guys are navigating the human terrain before the practice has to, and you're taking the human terrain and you're pre-preparing it so when it gets to the practice, these honestly poor front end support people, because these girls that work on the front end, they're on the front lines of trench dental warfare. Like they're the air traffic controllers of the practice. That poor girl at the front desk has two screens, 8 tabs open, the angry patient in front of them. Doc needs something. I think the hardest job in a practice is the front desk. So by doing this stuff, you're helping her or whoever the case presenter is, right? And then the other big problem that you help the staff with, which is I think the biggest problem, is you're associating the accounting properly, solving the ledger and accounting problem, creating this other bank account, and honestly creating a new source of it may be a small part of the bottom line, but a new source of something to go to the bottom line instead of something that eats away at your EBITDA, right? So I think like those two areas of like prepping the human terrain, navigating it for the doc, setting them up and packaging them up and sending them into the practices ready, plus solving the accounting problem. I think for a doc, solving those two areas is going to make the staff really want to embrace dental menu because you have indirectly made their workday better. As we're a lot, this is great for the patient, great for doc, but makes the workday a little harder, right? And where that's a problem is the operator that deploys the membership program isn't doc, it isn't the patient. It's the person in the middle, which is the front end staff, right? So you really solved two of the major problems that just aggravate front end staff. And that aggravation will make them honestly indirectly kill the program.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's one of our core values, Matt, is everyone wins. And so you're hitting it on the head. You got patient, they've got to win. It's got to be better for the patient, and you got to treat them well, and they've got to all get a good deal, and they've got to be taken care of. Then you have the owner, doctor owner. Well, he's got to win. He's got to make profits. Got to work. But then that third piece you're talking about is the office manager, administrators. They've got to win as well. And so if it's not a win for all those parties, it's not going to work.
That I think is, you know, early Energize. We recognized how important the dental membership program was, and we built the presentation of it into all of our training because we need to retain the fee for service patient so we can show the return on investment on the marketing dollars, right, through our software. And we realized very early the best tool to get the most ROI out of fee for service patients. Well, two tools actually combining that become the perfect storm. So one is the membership program. So they want to seek access and hygiene more frequently. Next is presenting treatment plan with an option very early of an example of monthly payment to jog the idea of financing. When those two come together, and they're getting a discount on services, and they're paying monthly for that, and then they're financing and paying monthly, they're going from spending 4,000 plus 299 or whatever it is up front to, oh, the membership program's 50, $60 a month, and my payment for my financing of my treatment is 150 a month, so I'm all in 200 a month, and my care is better, and I don't have dental insurance, and I'm not paying a ton of money up front. And when those two things collide, the fee for service patient, the ROI on the fee for service patient goes way up, and your average, I have all the data for this. Your average patient value in the practice skyrockets. So I was on with a doc yesterday, and pre-membership program, pre-offering financing tools properly, his average patient value was 860. A year later, his average patient value is 1180, and it's because those two things collided, and their fee for service patients are seeking care on a much higher frequency than they were before.
And the patient's getting taken care of with their oral health.
Yeah, their oral health is, let's get back to what really matters. Their oral health is skyrocketing. Doc is seeing them more frequently. We're getting ahead of the dental problem, not kicking it down the road like PPO culture. And docs always come to us and go, how could I go more fee for service? Right. And we always plug Tom Orant, who's like the fee for service guy. We really believe in Tom. But like, honestly, it's the membership program and financing. Like, you're having problems converting fee for service patients. Embrace these two things, learn them, navigate them, become experts in financing and the membership program. Oh, it'll be all, you'll go fee for service, no problem. Well, let's wrap this up. We've been wanting to have you on the show for a while. You're a product. We partner with two membership companies over at Energize that we believe in. We select them based on customer service and based on how well their product is really built. And we work with you on one of the other larger ones, and it's we very much believe in this. Like, we have to have it, and because it's required in our service to have this, we have put a lot of our brain to it. And us saying like dental menu is one of the better choices, you guys are not the biggest option in the marketplace, but I think you solved three of the largest problems in probably one of the most creative ways you could. And I think that creative thinking kind of is what's going to propel you guys forward and having probably one of the best products in the marketplace. So before we go, do you have anything to say to the audience?
No, thanks for having me. If you guys want to check us out, dentalmenu.com is our website. There's a self-assessment on there that you can go and kind of self-assess your plan. So if you have one, you can go self look up and see how you're scoring on how your plan is doing. Some education resources there, videos, different things like that. So check the website out. Even if you're not going with us, there's some good info there to help you improve your plan. And then if you want to schedule some time to chat with us, we'd love to talk.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We don't have sponsors. You can't pay to play. Me and Dr. Vallo and the other hosts on our channel select these services based on vetting and based on practical use, and us seeing it live in the marketplace, and us seeing it live on the front lines of dental practices. At my company, we vet things super heavy. And the reason why we selected Paul was we've seen the results, and we've seen multiple practices use it. And it's something that me and other docs we work with believe in, and a lot of our staff does. And that's what really matters to us. There's no way Paul could pay to be on here or a sponsorship. It was really based on the merit of performance that we saw directly across multiple practices. So guys, please click like, subscribe, share. And me and Dr. Vallo and the other hosts, we're not paid. We do this purely as an investment in the marketplace. So thank you guys, and have a great day.